You will forget this click of clarity. Tonight, you will not. Thank you for listening. You can keep polishing your beautiful, dumb objects, waiting for the silence to fall. Or you can begin the hard, necessary, rewarding work of building a living company. The silence is coming. Begin before it arrives. If something inside you shifted while listening, if you felt that quiet click of recognition, then this conversation is just beginning. The physical book of the living product contains a tool we couldn't include in the audio, the Dumb Object Autopsy. It's a 10-question checklist designed to help you and your team diagnose the hidden vulnerabilities in your core products. It's a powerful and sometimes uncomfortable exercise. To get your copy and that essential checklist, go to your podcast or audiobook app. The link is the first one in the description below this video. Tomorrow, the daily pressures of your job will rush back in. The emails, the meetings, the fires. The violent clang of metal stamping metal has been replaced by this, the quiet, powerful hum of server fans. The smell is different too. The sharp tang of cutting fluid is gone. Now it's the clean, sterile scent of static electricity and new servers. It's our Experience Innovation Center. We're building living products there. And the feeling on that floor is no longer dread. It's electricity. It's the feeling of the future being built right here, right now. I stood on that silent factory floor, and I was terrified. Terrified that the world had changed and left me behind. That fear was a gift. It was the energy I needed to take the first painful step. You're feeling a version of that fear right now. A knot in your stomach. A quiet voice asking, "Are we a dumb object company?" Good. Listen to that voice. The roadmap is here. The choice is yours.
If they can do it, you can do it. There is no more time. Chapter 8. The title of this chapter is The Hum of the Future. The other day, I was watching my daughter. She's 9. She was flipping through a physical magazine. I saw her put her small finger on a picture of a puppy and try to swipe. When the image didn't move, she didn't get frustrated. She just looked at the magazine with genuine confusion, like it was broken. That's the new world. That's your future customer. They don't distinguish between the physical and the digital. They expect a unified, responsive, intelligent experience from everything. For them, a dumb object isn't just obsolete, it's broken by design. A few months ago, I went back to that same factory floor I told you about at the very beginning, the one that fell silent. It's not silent anymore, but the sound is different. A living product gives you an endless stream of feedback data. You must build the systems to listen to it, to analyze it, and to act on it in a continuous loop of building, measuring, and learning. And finally, the 7th door, the final step, the most important one. Start now. I confess, after the Chimera failure, I hesitated for 6 months. I was paralyzed by the scale of the change. Those 6 months of inaction cost us more market share than the $50 million we burned. The cost of waiting, of perfecting the plan, is the single most expensive tax your business will ever pay. It tastes like blood and regret. A 70-year-old company that makes industrial water pumps, a dying business if there ever was one, followed this map. They realized their customers didn't want pumps. They wanted guaranteed water pressure as a service. They are now a high-growth subscription business. The cultural fire. And here's the secret I've seen in every company I've worked with. This transformation pays for itself by finding and eliminating the incredible waste and inefficiency hidden in your old processes. The 3rd door. Outline the product experience. Map every single touch point, from the first Google search to the unboxing to the first time it fails. Where is the friction? Where can data act as a lubricant to make it seamless? The 4th door. Build the right workplace. Create the Experience Innovation Center. Knock down the walls, literally. Put your software developers and your marketing team and your customer support reps at the same table. Force collisions. Force a shared language to emerge. The fifth door. Enable the right workforce. Hire for curiosity. Retrain for new skills. Transform your guardians into architects. The sixth door. Track your results. You must honor their expertise, but challenge them to be architects of the future, not just guardians of the past. If you don't, the alternative is terrifying, a company full of world-class experts in a world that no longer needs their expertise. Chapter 7. The title of this chapter is The First Step on the Map. All right, the theory is done. The stories are told. Now we move from belief to action. This is the map. There are 7 steps, 7 doors you must walk through to get from a dumb object to a living product. But this isn't a checklist. This is a commitment. The first door, define your vision and be brutally specific. Not a connected car seat, a personalized driver wellness environment. What is the outcome you are selling? Say it in one sentence. The second door, digitize your core business. This is what we've been talking about. The agile teams, the new metrics. The software engineers on the team wanted to build a complex predictive model. Frank just listened for 2 weeks. Finally, he spoke up. He said, "You're looking at the wrong data. The problem isn't the machines, it's the parts inventory. We run out of grade B washers every third Thursday. That's your problem." In that moment, something clicked. The software engineers realized Frank was the most valuable data source they had. And Frank realized his deep, tacit knowledge could be scaled, could be codified into a system that made the entire network of factories smarter. We didn't change his title. We changed his mission. Frank went from being a guardian of one factory floor to an architect of a global intelligent maintenance system. He found a new identity. You have to find the Franks in your organization. Frank was a shift supervisor at one of our plants for 32 years. He knew every machine by the sound it made. He could smell a coolant leak from 50 yards away. Frank was the ultimate guardian. His job, his entire professional identity, was to make sure the line never stopped and the product never changed. His pension, his kids' college fund, it was all tied to the stability of that line. When we started the transformation, Frank fought me at every turn. He saw our new agile teams as chaos. He saw our data scientists as kids who'd never gotten their hands dirty. He said to me one day, "Marcus, this is all just Silicon Valley nonsense. We make things that are real." I didn't fire Frank. Instead, I put him on one of our new 2-pizza teams. The team's mission was to reduce unplanned downtime on the factory floor. It is the hardest work you will ever do. But without it, your living product will be born dead. Chapter 6. The title of this chapter is From Guardians to Architects. An agile machine needs a new kind of fuel, and that fuel is your people. For 100 years, we promoted people based on their ability to manage a process, to reduce variance, to deliver on time and on budget. We created VPs of manufacturing, directors of supply chain, and managers of quality control. These people were the guardians of the old way. They were very, very good at it. But to build a living product, you need a different breed of leader. You need experience architects. You need data storytellers. You need platform evangelists. This isn't just about changing titles on a business card. It's about fundamentally changing the identity of your best people. Let me tell you about Frank. They are given a customer problem to solve, and they are given the autonomy to solve it, to experiment, to fail fast, to learn, and to move at the speed of the market, not the speed of your annual budget cycle. A 2-pizza team feels different. The energy is electric. There's a giant whiteboard covered in frantic sketches and sticky notes. There's debate. There's laughter. There's the low hum of intense focus. It's controlled chaos. It's the feeling of creation. It's the opposite of the soul-crushing, meeting-filled, bureaucratic sludge that dominates most large companies.
Your business can no longer be a factory for manufacturing products. It must become an experience innovation center. That shift doesn't happen with a memo from HR. It happens when you change how teams are structured, how they are measured, and what behaviors you as a leader personally reward. Sales threw customers over a wall to support. Each department had its own goals, its own budget, its own language. It was a perfect system for creating dumb objects efficiently. It was a death sentence for creating a living product. We were organized for predictability, but innovation is not predictable. It is messy. It is chaotic. It requires a completely different kind of operating system, an agile one. This is where you have to become a revolutionary inside your own company. You have to detonate the walls between your departments. You need small, empowered, cross-functional teams. Amazon has the famous two-pizza rule. If you can't feed your team with 2 pizzas, your team is too big. A team of 5 to 8 people. On that team is an engineer, a marketer, a data scientist, a user experience designer. They aren't given a list of features to build. Sometimes the smartest move is to become an indispensable part of someone else's, like becoming a premier app on Apple's Health Kit. The key is to understand this new battlefield. Your platform is your fortress, your moat, and your high ground, all in one. Chapter 5. The title of this chapter is The Two-Pizza Revolution. So you have the vision. You understand outcomes. You're ready to build your fortress. I have to warn you again. The technology is the easy part. The hardest part is dismantling the human machine you've already built. The hardest part is your culture. My $50 million failure with Project Chimera wasn't a technology failure. It was a culture failure. Our organization was a relic of the industrial age. We were built in silos. Engineering through designs over a wall to manufacturing. Manufacturing through products over a wall to sales. It adjusts the climate, the Apple Music playlist, the seat position to your personal preferences before you even start the car. It uses facial recognition to monitor for driver drowsiness and can gently vibrate the seat and suggest a coffee stop. It syncs with your Microsoft Teams calendar and asks if you want to join your next meeting audio only. Phoresia became the orchestra conductor. Other services, weather, AI assistants, streaming entertainment became the guest soloists, but Phoresia controlled the entire concert. They built a relationship with the driver that their competitors, still just selling padded frames, simply cannot break. In the digital age, businesses do not compete one-on-one. Ecosystems compete with ecosystems. Building your own platform is the ultimate power move, but you don't always have to. He knew the car seat wasn't just a padded frame. It could be the biometric heart of the entire vehicle experience. It was a massive risk. The board was divided. One member, an old guard executive, stood up in a meeting and said, "We are seat makers. We bend metal and we stitch leather. We are not a software company." The stakes were existential. If Patrick was wrong, the company would likely be broken up and sold for parts. But he went all in. He pushed through the acquisition of a company specializing in infotainment. He forced partnerships with software experts. He bet the company on building a platform, an ecosystem. Today, their car seat is a fortress. It's not made of steel and leather, but of data and APIs. It has biometric sensors that know who you are the moment you sit down. I heard the noise of the factory floor in the background. She said, "Okay, Thorne, I get it now." They took their flour, their physical compressor, and used data as the flame to bake it into a living service. And in doing so, they created a recurring revenue stream and locked out every competitor who was still just selling dumb blue boxes. Chapter 4. The title of this chapter is Building Your Fortress of Data. Let me tell you about a French automotive supplier named Phoresia. In 2015, they were drowning. They were good at what they did. They made car seats, dashboards, interiors, beautifully crafted dumb objects.
But they were a commodity supplier in a cutthroat industry, and they were losing. Then a new CEO came in, Patrick Kohler. He saw the writing on the wall. He knew the future of the car wasn't the engine or the transmission, it was the intelligent cockpit. The job was to have compressed air available at the right pressure 24/7. So they stopped just selling the box. They put sensors on it. They connected it to the cloud. They transformed their business. They now sell air uptime as a service. The plant manager, a woman named Sarah who had been a customer for 20 years, was their biggest skeptic. She told me, "I don't need your fancy computers, Marcus. I need my line to run." Her career, her plant's productivity depended on it. 3 months into the new service, our system flagged an anomalous vibration signature in one of her main compressors. We dispatched a technician. He arrived the next day and replaced a $5 bearing that was 12 hours away from seizing. A failure that would have shut down Sarah's entire production line for a full day, costing her company over $250,000. She called me that afternoon. A Tesla is the perfect example. It's a car, yes, but it's also a sophisticated software platform on wheels. The company is constantly collecting data from its fleet of over 1 million vehicles, every turn, every acceleration, every near miss. That data allows them to push over-the-air updates that improve performance, add features like dog mode, and increase the car's value after you've bought it. A 5-year-old Tesla can be a better car today than it was the day it left the factory. Think about that. An asset that appreciates with use. It violates the old physics of business. This is the new magic. This transformation begins with a brutal question. What job is our customer really hiring our product to do? I worked with a company that makes industrial air compressors. For 80 years, their business was selling a big, heavy blue box. The job wasn't to own a compressor. Project Chimera failed because we were still trying to sell a better watch when our customers just wanted to know the time. We were selling the object, not the outcome. A $50 million lesson I will never forget. Chapter 3, the title of this chapter is The Flower and the Flame. So how do you do it? How do you avoid your own Project Chimera? How do you transform a dumb object into a living service? You have to stop thinking of your physical product as the finished meal. Your physical product is the flour. It is the essential foundational ingredient. But on its own, it's just dust. It's not the bread. The yeast, the thing that makes it rise, that gives it life, is data. The water that binds it all together is connectivity. The heat from the oven, the transformative energy, is your analytics engine. Your product becomes a chassis, a platform for delivering value. Unreliable. It didn't solve a real problem. We burned through $50 million to create a more expensive, less reliable version of the dumb object we already sold. We were the Swiss watchmakers of the 1970s. For centuries, they had perfected the gear, the spring, the tiny, intricate machine. They were masters of the object. They sold beautiful machines that told time. Then a company named Seiko showed up with a quartz crystal and a battery. They weren't selling a beautiful machine, they were selling a better outcome. Perfect, affordable, reliable time. The entire Swiss industry collapsed in 24 months. They were so obsessed with the object, they didn't realize the customer never wanted the object. They wanted the outcome. Your customers don't want a drill, they want a hole in the wall. They don't want a furnace, they want to be warm. He looked at me, his eyes hollow with exhaustion, and said, "It's not working, Marcus. The hardware and the software, they're fighting each other. We're trying to force a soul into a body that was never designed to have one." I told him we just needed more time, more resources. But he just shook his head. He said, "It's not a resource problem, it's a culture problem. We're a hardware company trying to play a software game, and we don't even know the rules." Then he walked out. He didn't slam the door. He just closed it quietly behind him, and the silence was deafening. I sat there, alone in that room, a cold knot tightening behind my sternum. And for the first time, I had a single, terrifying thought run through my mind. What if he's right? What if I'm betting the whole company on a ghost? We pushed on, of course. We launched the product, and our customers hated it. It was clunk. We called it Project Chimera. It was my first attempt at this transformation, and it almost broke me. It started with a brilliant idea. We were going to create a smart version of our flagship industrial valve, a product that had made us millions. We had a $50 million budget. We had a team of our best and brightest engineers. The signature scene of my failure wasn't on a factory floor. It was in a sterile, glass-walled conference room on the third floor. The only smell was burnt coffee and the faint electronic heat coming off the servers in the next room. My top engineer, a man named David Chen, stood in front of me. For 6 months, David had poured his life into this project. His wife was about to have their first child, and he missed countless dinners trying to make Chimera work. He placed his key card on the polished table. The plastic made a soft, final click. It's the starting gun. It's the beginning of a relationship. And if your product cannot have that relationship, you will lose. You will lose to the company whose product can. You will become another ghost haunting another silent factory floor. Your most dangerous competitor isn't the company with a bigger factory or a cheaper supply chain. It's the one with better software. Your biggest risk isn't a port strike in Asia. It's a cognitive bias called functional fixedness, the prison of your own expertise, the inability to see an alternative use for the very thing you create. You see a high-performance running shoe. They see a personalized gait analysis service. You see a dumb object. They see a living product. Chapter 2. The title of this chapter is The $50 Million Failure. Before I learned this lesson, I had to live through my greatest failure. He said, "Oh, we don't worry about them. They just sell dumb objects." Dumb objects. Let that phrase sink into your bones. Your precision-engineered, ISO 901 certified, globally distributed product, the thing you've spent your entire career perfecting, is a dumb object. A dead thing in a box. A relic from a museum nobody visits anymore. In his world, a world that is rapidly becoming the world, if a product doesn't connect, if it doesn't learn, if it doesn't evolve after the point of sale, it's already a ghost. It's a liability on a balance sheet just waiting for the write-down. For 200 years, business was simple. You build a thing, you sell the thing. The transaction is over. You just hope the customer comes back in 5 years when the thing inevitably breaks or becomes obsolete. That model is over. It's finished. Today, the point of sale is not the finish line. And I'm here to give you the playbook I wish I'd had. Welcome to the Living Product, Chapter 1. The title of this chapter is Your Product is Already a Ghost. I was in the Senator Lounge at Frankfurt Airport a few years ago. The air was thick with the smell of stale croissants and entitlement. I was hunched over a tiny table, trying to triage 100 emails before my flight to Shanghai. At the table next to me, a kid, couldn't have been more than 25, was pitching his app to a venture capitalist. The kid was all nervous energy, his hands a blur, painting pictures in the air. The VC, a man named Richter with a face like bored granite, finally interrupted him. He asked about the established players in the market, companies like mine. The kid actually laughed. It was a short, sharp, dismissive sound. He leaned in, and what he said next hit me like a physical blow. Do you know the smell of a dying company? It's not rot. It's ozone and cutting fluid. The scent of a billion-dollar product line grinding to a halt. For 20 years, that was the smell of my life. The smell of progress. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, it became the smell of a ghost.
The silence that followed was so complete it felt like a physical weight pressing down on my chest. By 2028, your company could feel that same silence. Not because of a recession, not because of a better machine, but because of a single software update from a competitor you don't even see coming. This isn't a threat, it's a promise. And if you keep listening, I promise you will know how to survive it. Hello, I'm Marcus Thorne. I've stood on that silent factory floor, with the wreckage of my own certainty all around me. I carry the scars from the mistakes I made so you never have to.